Hi everybody. So I want to start today with a story that honestly kept me up last night. Why? Because when I got to know this, my first reaction was no, this cannot be happening. But in reality, it is happening. An Indian person with a valid work permit with a pending asylum application, following every rule, going about his day, was stopped at an airport in America. He got detained by ICE not because he did anything wrong, but simply because he was traveling and he happened to be Indian. Yes, you heard that right. So today in this very special segment, we'll talk about what is really going on and what every Indian in America needs to know before they step foot in an airport. Hi everybody, my name is Neha Upadhyay and you all are watching Ecos Global. So let's talk about what actually happened. So according to News India Times, ICE means Immigration and Customs Enforcement has been expanding its airport operations. And immigration lawyers, immigration attorneys are now saying publicly the types of people being arrested have completely changed. It used to be people with criminal records, people with final deportation orders, people who had been evading the system for years. But it is not the case anymore. Now, according to immigration attorneys, ICE is going after people who entered America lawfully, people who overstayed their visa, people with pending asylum applications, people with work permits. And yes, an Indian national was specifically named as one of the new targets. That is not something that happens by accident. This is a deliberate expansion of who ICE considers a priority. Now let's talk about the Indian connection and why this matters so much specifically for Indians. Actually, India is one of the largest sources of pending immigration applications in America. H-1B extensions, OPT renewals, green card applications, EAD renewals, asylum claims. There are hundreds of thousands of Indians right now in the middle of some kind of immigration process, waiting for an answer, following every rule, showing up when they are supposed to. And until recently, they felt relatively safe because they were in the system, they were compliant, they had paperwork. But here is what immigration attorneys said that really changed everything for immigration lawyers across America. She said, if you don't have permanent status, you should really consider whether it is safe to fly. That is coming from someone who works with immigrants every single day. She is not trying to scare people. She is just telling them the truth. Now let's talk about what has actually changed. For years, there was an informal understanding. ICE focused on people with criminal records, people who had evaded removal orders, people who were actively hiding. That understanding is gone. The Trump administration has been very clear that anyone without lawful status is a priority, and that includes people in the middle of legitimate immigration processes. People who filed their paperwork on time, people who are waiting for USCIS to process their case, people who have done absolutely nothing wrong, and that shift from targeting criminals to targeting anyone without permanent status is what has changed the airport experience completely for Indians in America. Now let's talk about the TSA connection. TSA is the Transportation Security Administration, and ICE have been sharing information. When you check in for a flight, your name and immigration history are being cross-referenced in real time. So if your I-94 has expired, if your visa stamp is old, if your extension is pending, if your asylum case is unresolved, that information is available to ICE before you even get to the gate. And what immigration attorneys are now telling clients is something they have never had to say before. If you have a pending immigration case of any kind, think very carefully before you book a domestic flight. Okay, so what you can do now? See, if you have any pending immigration case, talk to your immigration attorney before your next flight. Not after, before. Understand exactly what your risk level is right now. And also, you need to carry every document you have, your H-1B approval notice, your I-797, your EAD card, your receipt notices, your employer letter, everything. Why? Because if you are stopped, you need to be able to demonstrate your status immediately. Last but not the least, know your rights. If ICE approaches you at an airport, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to speak to an attorney. Do not answer questions without legal advice and do not sign anything. So I think you might agree with what I shared today. If you do not agree, let me know your views and your thoughts in the comment section. That's all in this video. See you in the next one. Till then, this is me, Neha Upadhyay, signing off.